was a week full of festivities, all leading up to one big football game that means more than all the rest, homecoming. Despina Barton here inside the Hatters Athletic Training Center, bringing you the 8th edition of the Roger Hughes Show. Coach Hughes will be on hand. We'll have an emotional post-game speech and so much more for you in today's show. But before we get to all of that, we got to serve you up those highlights. A season record crowd made their way out to Stetson Martin Stadium as Stetson faced off against Pioneer Football League opponent Marist, all on homecoming. The Hatters hungry to give their fans and alum a home victory. Open up this contest with a bang. Stetson wins the coin toss and elect to receive first here. 10 on their own, 47. Ryan Tentler connects with Keegan Moore for a 22-yard gain. A very fluid start that just gets getting better. Then Cole Mazza, the machine, breaks away for 24 to move his team inside the red zone. He'll huff, he'll puff, and on the third try, Cole Mazza will blow Marist House down for the touchdown, just 3:26 into the game. Hatters go for the two, faked extra point, and kicker Grant Amick crosses the pylons. It's 8-0 early for the Hatters. Later in the first, a mental error here on Marist's punt proves costly for the home team. Darius McGriff fumbles and the Red Foxes recover at Stetson's 23. 5 plays later, Marist sophomore quarterback Anthony Francis hits his main squeeze wide receiver Armani Martin for a 9-yard touchdown. Now, despite a delay of game penalty, the PAT goes down and it's 8-7. Before the half, Marist Francis made one final punch, making an 18-yard completion out to Matt Crowley for a lead-changing score. The visitors go up 14-8. The third quarter went scoreless. It was a defensive brawl that forced each side to punt away nearly every possession. Big-time plays by Davian Bell, Donald Payne. Well, they kept the Red Foxes out of scoring position. Here we go. The Hatters get something brewing with 1:21 left in the third. Ryan Tentler passes over to Ryan Salimos to keep the chains moving. Then 2 snaps later, Tentler with a short connect to Keegan Moore. The 6-foot, 175-pound sophomore from Marietta, Georgia, treks it cross field 78 yards to close out the third quarter. And of course, go ahead and set up Cole Mazza's second touchdown of the game from the 1. Tentler gets the team moving again downfield. A.J. Washington, the chosen receiver, snags the first. Now a short pass to Chris Crawford, and the Hatters are just outside the 20. 5'7" running back A.J. Washington says, "Give it to me." Brings the team up to the 9, then finishes the job himself from 9 out. It's a touchdown. The extra point goes down, and Stetson extends the lead 22-14. Now, still 3 minutes and 9 seconds left in this conference contest, but the Hatters, well, they weren't going to let this one slip away. Defense smothering Anthony Francis, forcing a fumble late to go ahead and end this one on their own terms. Stetson earns his third victory in a row and first win at home this season versus Marist at homecoming. The final score, 22-14. Stay right where you are, because when we return, I'll have head coach Roger Hughes on hand. Oh, and then we'll have some exclusive behind-the-scenes footage from the team's homecoming celebration. Stay right where you are. You're watching the Roger Hughes Show. Welcome back into the Roger Hughes Show. Head coach Roger Hughes beside me. Finally, coach, you come back. It's your third victory in a row. It's homecoming. How sweet was that this week?
Well, it was pretty special for the kids, and I think for the community as well. The atmosphere couldn't have been better, and just kind of the way we won. To come from behind when it really looked like we weren't going to be able to itch it out, and Keegan Moore made a great play on offense. Our defense really played well in the second half, and so hopefully that's a learning process where we're learning how to win games in the second half.
Another piece to your puzzle that seems to this core in this group that's maturing, and this group that was told that they can't win. Big tribute to you and grooming these young men, but to do it at home, this team hasn't had a home win in over a year. What was that emotion and feeling like on the field, and then to do it in front of all the alum?
Well, I think it was important for our kids to win at home. I know that they had kind of felt like maybe a little monkey was on their back and they had to get rid of it. I think, I would love to take credit for the success we're having, but frankly, it should go to more of the assistant coaches and director of football operations, and frankly, Dr. Libby and Jeff, who've created an atmosphere and an environment that has really allowed us to thrive in it. And so the beauty of my job is I get a chance to sit around and watch them work and take the credit for it. But you sit around and people have certain expectations. I know I have certain expectations, and as you're starting a program from scratch, there's probably not a lot of people who think you're going to be successful very early, and they're probably right. But I think right to this point, I think we're overachieving a little bit. A lot will get down to how we finish the season, but certainly to get ourselves to 500 at this point in the season, and to be able to put together 3 wins. We never talk about a streak, although I just talked about it. But I think we're in a good position right now, and then hopefully we can continue that maturing process that you spoke about to carry us through these last 2 games.
Yeah, let's go back to the start of the game. You guys open up, you win the coin toss, you march down, you punch one in, and what were your feelings like at that moment, knowing that you got the first dagger, but then had to come back?
Well, I think we did a very hard job of trying to get off to a fast start, I should say, and we practiced those first 10 plays of the game probably about 2 or 3 or 4 times over the last 2 or 3 days. So it wasn't surprising to me that we executed so well. What was probably something that we should have done is go back to that same sequence of plays, maybe a little later in the first quarter, possibly in the second quarter. They started to do some things defensively that we hadn't seen before, and it took us a little time to adjust, and once we got in halftime, we made those adjustments. Then defensively, again, we got off to a little bit of a slow start. They were able to pick up 14 points early in the game, but that was primarily due to giving them a short field on turnovers, and certainly we can't continue to do that. But after that point, I thought our defense settled down, and I don't think they had more than 2 first downs in the second half.
No, I believe it was 5 sacks in that second half, held them, shut them out the rest of the way. What were those adjustments you specifically made at the half that you were able to capitalize?
Well, we were blocking certain plays a certain way, and they were bringing an extra linebacker in, so we just decided to just kind of fully zone it and let the line take whoever comes to their area rather than be assigned for a specific man. We decided to do a few more pass plays that were play action. We got our quarterback outside the pocket a little bit more. Their defensive line was very good, and we knew that we would have some matchup problems with them, and so we tried to do some things to slow them down with our read option, making them play assignment football. Defensively, what we try to do is we try to continue to play a little more zone, but we blitzed a little bit more in the second half, and we figured out how they were trying to protect us based on where the back was sitting up, and then we tried to bring our pressure in a way that they couldn't pick everyone up. And I think you saw, Davian Belk just made some unbelievable individual rushes, but Ryan Powers came free onto the backside of the quarterback and really got a good hit on him. Devon Jones-Stewart did the same thing, and that was a credit to our defensive staff scheming up our blitzes to where they couldn't really pick them up. And I think what happened as the game went on, the cumulative effect of us hitting the quarterback, while we may not have sacked him all the time, we had a lot of quarterback pressures and a lot of hurries, and we were getting some good shots on him, and I think that affected him as the game went on and made him less effective as he was throwing the ball.
Certainly if those guys were coming at me the entire game, my accuracy would go off and whatnot. But your guys, they didn't give up. And when your defense kept making those stops, and the offense, your offense marched out. Tentler probably very frustrated in that third, but you guys got something going late in that third quarter, set you up right in the fourth. With Colmasa punching that in.
Well, what happened was we offensively we were getting a little frustrated because once we made some adjustments in the half, they came out with about 3 blitzes that we hadn't seen before, and so again we just tried to settle the guys down, and really we made an adjustment to try to get the ball in the perimeter more and make them run around. We had really made it a concentrated effort to run the ball. And so we started to throw the ball a little bit more. We had a couple bubble passes we hit outside and a screen play and those types of things. And then, Keegan Moore came in and made a huge play on a short run. And that was really the turning point of the game.
So that's the pinpoint. The momentum shifted right there. You guys knew you could.
Well, yeah. Well, one, we battled back to take the lead at that point, and I think Keegan had a 70-yard run off of a 4-yard pass. And then Cole marched it in, and then defensively we made a couple good stops, got a short field, and were able to punch another one in, really running the football and taking a lot of time off the clock. And I think at that point in time, our kids really felt that we were taking over the game, and I think, frankly, the Maris kids felt the same way, and so we were able to close it out at the end.
What was that sideline like as those final minutes and seconds ticked off that clock?
Craziness. I got knocked down twice. And then I got the Gatorade bath, which was a big surprise. But it was pandemonium. I mean, we actually were lucky. We actually got a personal foul on our last touchdown because of the emotion on the sidelines. And I think our kids were so excited. And it was really a struggle to keep them back on the field and remind them, hey, there's still 2 minutes left in this game. We've still got to make a stop. We've still got to run the clock out. But it's also good to see that. I think it was part of that pent-up frustration of not being able to win at home. I think part of the emotion of being able to put this little run together that we've had, and so hopefully success can continue to breed success, and we continue that emotion as we go forward.
2 more games on the docket, Coach. We got to go to commercial break, but when we return, we have behind-the-scenes footage, stuff you didn't even see us catching at that homecoming game. It's all coming up next here on the Roger Hughes Show. We're back here at the Roger Hughes Show. Coach, it's time to take a peek back at that homecoming win. It was so electrifying, and we have it covered from so many different angles. You got to check this out.
Actually 3. All I've heard is that there's no way you can't hope to win more than 3 games your second year. I got 5 on it. You guys, hey, I got 5. You guys, the assistant coaches, everybody, prove those wrong. a lot of ways we can improve. Be happy, not satisfied. This season isn't over. All right, we go up to Moorhead. We're on the road, plane ride. All right, fellas, we got to focus. Take it easy. Clap it up.
You did it! You did it! You did it with passion! You did it with heart! Because you're a family! You are a family! You're a team! I'm so proud of you! Take this family on! Take this family on! Let's go! Go, Hatters, go!
What are your emotions like at this point?
Pretty proud. Both of our players and our assistant coaches, you know, and as I told the team in there, I don't know, I guess I'm freaking emotional, but for the last 4 years, you know, all I heard was, well, if you win any games your first year, and if you win maybe 2 the second year, and I had someone come up to me and just say, just before the game, say, 4 wins, that's a great season. And we've always had our sights set a little higher than that, and we certainly, I felt, didn't lower our standards for winning. That winning sets a standard for excellence. Anything below that's not acceptable. And so, and I think you're seeing a team that's maturing a little bit. I think, you know, in the past, had we gotten down at half like that and made some stupid mistakes, one would have compounded another and we would have been able to recover. And there's just a belief and a confidence on this team that's growing, I think. And so when bad things happen, or you know, we had some really, I thought, crucial mental errors in the game, especially at the end of the game where we got a personal foul and then an offsides on the kickoff. That could have turned the game around, and so we've got to clean those things up. As I told the team, be happy, not satisfied, and that, you know, the game season hasn't ended. Yeah, it was great to get the win. It was great to get to 500, and it was great to get the home win. But you know, if they think the season's over by any means, it's not even close.
This is his last homecoming, him and Jake Payne, so we just wanted to go out with a hoorah, I guess, and we just wanted to make the best out of their trip at Stetson and just keep going with winning. How'd it feel, Flesh?
See, I hated the whole my last homecoming thing because I wanted the attention, so it's just like, there's no one on me. But I mean, us as offensive line, we felt, you know, really like picked up just these last few times. The whole offense just started really clicking these last few games, and now that we had it down pat, we were excited to be able to show it in front of a home crowd. And really, you know, after all the hard work, this is a huge milestone for the program, really setting the tone in our second year with bright future ahead of us. You know, only 2 old guys getting rid of us, so we can get rid of it, but everyone else is coming back, and it's exciting going up to Kentucky.
I mean, Coach told us in the locker room that people told him that no team in their second year of position is going to win more than 3 games. And so he just been working with us so hard. And so basically he helped prove them wrong. He said he led the team that they got more than 3 wins in their second season. So he's just been proud of us, and we're working our butts off for him every day.
Yeah, I think he was happy that we came a long way. Earlier when we was losing by 8, and now we're winning by 8, and we're closing out games. So I think we're maturing and we're learning from our mistakes and things that were going wrong earlier in the season and last year, and we're just really becoming a better team and just making more progress.
Coach, an evening we'd like to have every Saturday here in DeLand. What was your favorite memory or moment of the night?
Well, I think just you know, it started really with the Hatter Walk, and well, actually it started the night before in the pep rally, because we've never seen, there was a line to get into the pep rally at least 2 blocks long, and the place was rocking. I've never seen the Edmond Center so electric. And, you know, our captains got up and spoke and had things going as a great comedian, and then that kind of carried over to the day itself, where, you know, as we come into the stadium, we walked through Hatter Village, and there were so many more people there. You could just kind of feel it, and then the crowd getting going, and something that happened differently during the game this time, rather than just relying on the pep band, they played some outside music, and when that movie Jump came, or the TV, or the song Jump came on, the whole stand started to get up and get into it. Our players started to get up and get into it. So I'm hoping that continues on, but you could just feel it right there. And then the way we kind of won the game, there was a close game all the way. We kept fighting. We ended up winning the game at the very end. And then, as we're walking off the field, they start a fireworks display. And it's one of those moments that you just can't choreograph. You'd love to have it come back. You'd love to do everything to get it, but I'm not sure. It was kind of like the very first game, to be honest with you, when people started singing the national anthem all together. And it's really a great example of the partnership between DeLand and the alums and Stetson University. And, I can't thank the supporters and the place, the community itself, because all the support, this project never happens with all that. And it was great for our team to be able to kind of give some of that love back by how we performed on the field.
We just got to bring the fireworks out every time, right, Coach?
Well, we got to have them ready, I hope. Yeah.
All right, well, we'll bring fireworks back here when we return on the Roger Hughes Show. Right now, we got to go to commercial. When we return, it's all about Morehead State. Stay with us right here on the Roger Hughes Show. We're back here at the Roger Hughes Show. Coach, it's time to look ahead. I know you're always looking ahead, but it's Morehead State, the next trip up north for you.
Well, we've got to, we'll be a charter flight, and we'll leave on Friday afternoon. But in looking at the film as we get prepared, They run a similar defense to what we've seen before, a 4-down front. They're very, very big and very physical. They do a lot of man-to-man coverage, which creates its own issue. What that means is when they're covering receivers man-to-man, they can put a lot more people in the box, and I would not be surprised if they try to do that given our run game and the success we've had there to try to stop us. Offensively, on the other hand, they're scoring a lot of points. They have great skill. Their quarterbacks, they use a lot of what we call three-step game, and that means the quarterback gets the ball off very quickly, which means you can't get hits on him, you can't get pressure on him, and you've got to be in place, and it's really hard, if they're really accurate or the quarterback's really on, they can kind of slice and dice you from the standpoint they hit 5, 6, 4-yard routes and then let their athletes run with it. Kicking game-wise, we're going to face, we've got to continue to improve there. We need our kickoffs were not placed very well last week, and we need to make sure we get that done. I thought Eric Fogel did a great job of filling in for the injured James Lagama as far as our punt game, and then our punt protection has been pretty good. And we're gonna, if we can get a punt blocked or put some pressure on punt-wise, if you block a punt, you're about a 95% chance of winning the game. And so we've got to make sure we create short fields as we go up there. And then you're going on the road. We're up in the mountains of Kentucky. The weather's going to be much different than we faced. If you watch Jacksonville go up to Marist a couple weeks ago, they didn't play very well. And so my concern is to make sure that we continue to play well regardless of the conditions. And we haven't faced that yet as a program, so that'll be new adversity for us.
For you being a coach from up in the Northeast, how do you then prepare these guys that aren't used to those temperatures?
Well, some of the things we've done is, take buckets of ice water out and make the quarterbacks, receivers, and all the skill guys put their hands in a bucket for 2 minutes before they handle the football. We're not letting them wear any sleeves at practice. The nice thing is we practice in the mornings, so it's cooler. It's not as cold as it's going to be, as it's predicted to be, but it's cooler at least, so we get rid of those, get ready to perform. And then really once you get going, the weather we're going to face is not a big deal, but it's just kind of when you're standing on the sidelines and how do you keep yourself warm, how do you keep yourself ready to go. So we've been talking about that as well and making sure that we have the right equipment ready to go to make sure we do that.
Now, I know this was such a physical contest here at homecoming. Mm-hmm. How are those guys? Are they healing up this week? Is it a big priority to make sure that these guys are healthy to travel?
Absolutely. I think, and to your point, I think our secondary was probably as physical as I've ever seen them. And coming up, putting hits on, generally Donald Payne does that, but now everybody in the secondary was doing it. Davian Bell got some big hits. And so, just like everyone, we're kind of beaten up. So we modified practice on Monday. Much like we did the previous week where, we tried to give them the very, very light practice, lifting, watch film, and then we'll probably do full pads one day this week and then, try to kind of back off as we go along. Really, it's basically about dressing up what you've already done. You're not putting in new scale offenses. You're not putting in whole new schemes. There'll be some tweaks here and there, but, making what we do look different and trying to take advantage of matchups and leverage alignments that you see both offensive and defensively. And then defensively, we got to look for also the matchups in our blocking scheme. Which linebacker or which defensive lineman, how can we get them matched on their worst pass protector, those types of things. So it's not going to be whole-scale changes. Our kids should be ready to go by now.
You're right, Coach. We're getting ready to go on the road, and a comfortable place for you guys. You're at 500, coming off a big homecoming win this week, taking that energy and that confidence up to Moorhead State. Coach, that's going to do it for us here for this special homecoming edition of the Roger Hughes Show. For head coach Roger Hughes, we thank you so much for your time. I'm Despina Barton, and we'll see you next time on the Roger Hughes Show.